Hey everyone, TimaeuSS here, and welcome to another NIKKE video. So we've done some testing with Naga, and is she worth it? Especially that we don't have Tia just yet. I know some of you guys are wondering, with anniversary coming up, we also have one event before that most likely. Are we going to be able to get the full value out of Naga, especially if we're saving? Well, let me give you the too long didn't watch conclusion in the beginning, and then I'll explain everything at the end. So for Naga, in my honest opinion, if you don't have enough currency to both secure Naga and Tia plus anniversary, then I honestly think you should probably just skip, because again, those two units are not limited, right? And you can put them on the wish list after. And what if the pilgrim for the anniversary is going to be absolutely insane? Do remember that we still have one more bait banner before that. Now that's for the meta players. For the non-meta players, if you're waifu and you like the chocolate waifu, of course 100% go for her. She's not bad as a solo, even standalone B2. She does offer a lot to the table, even more so than some of the OGs such as Rupee. But in comparison to the bunnies, of course, you need at least both characters to compete. Okay, so for those of you waifu lovers, go for her. For the meta lovers, unless you can secure both plus save up at least one exchange worth of tickets, so 200 for the pilgrim ticket, then I suggest you wait for the pilgrim at least, because again, this is not limited and pilgrims are only 1%, and we know how hard it is to get. Now you could be like some of the people that did skip bunnies to basically save for later limiteds or collaborations, and it turns out the bunnies were super meta and you still don't have them from the wish list. That will happen, but I'm speaking about from a overall point of view. You definitely want to save, especially if you cannot get both units, because we did the polls on stream and unfortunately it took me 100 polls to get one Naga, but I did get 2 Blanc, right? So I didn't go all in on the Blanc banner and she is already core 1. So yeah, give and take. That's just my experience with how it is. Now in terms of her skill kit, I've tested her at 777, but I'm pretty sure after Tia gets released, I'm going to bring her to 10 and then bring the bond level to max as well. Couple of things here, okay? So her cover HP recovery is really good, but she needs to have obviously covers to recover, in the sense that if your shield is depleted, some as Licher's effect, if the ally's shield is depleted, that ally will not get the cover HP. Okay, so that's very important. And also, when applying shield, she affects all allies, giving that core damage buff. This is also very important to note that not a lot of units do this. We know Tia does it, but units like Senti actually does not do it. And the other unit that does it is Arya. Arya can do it, but Arya is a burst too. So again, there's going to be some conflicting bursting involved if you choose to not go with Tia. So all in all, the best partner for Naga is still going to be Naga plus Tia. Now her second skill, the attacking core damage. So this, if you look at the damage calculation, when you're doing attacks on the enemy core, it's going to be 100% bonus damage, right? So if you're getting this at level 7, it's 107% more. So it adds up, it becomes 207 on top of the 100% bonus damage. So that's how that works. And then in terms of activating the recovery, this is not that much, to be honest, but again, you have to upgrade your gear, you have to upgrade your bond level for this to matter a bit more. But the sustain is nice, plus the cover HP. So with the cover HP and the sustain here, then it becomes a lot more significant in keeping your team alive. Now, the last skill, the Pierce, it actually is very good. I tested it on some of the bosses, and if you got multi-parts, it's actually very good because you're piercing the parts into the body. So the damage is, I mean, it's not negligible, but it's not going to be someone like Summer Annis, who quote-unquote is a support type. Now, the allies' attack bonus, this caster's attack bonus gets applied based on Naga's base attack. Okay, so this is unfortunate because if it was final attack, I think she would be extremely broken. But because it's base attack, you actually will only get this from the gears, the bond levels, the MLBs, but you will not get this from the overload gear. Now, the reason why you want to go overload and upgrade the overload gear is so that you get the stat bonus from the gear itself. But having overload stat, for example, this 11% attack will only boost Naga's self damage output, but it will not boost her attack buff that she gives to the team. So unfortunate. Now, if you look at my second overload gear line, I actually have a max ammo capacity. I did this just for this, basically. The first one activates landing 12 attacks, affects allies, and then recover the HP. I did it so that with one line of max ammo capacity, she'll have over 12 because her base ammo is 9, right? So with one line, you're gonna push above 12%, which means that in one reload cycle, she will be able to trigger this, which is great. And also that helps with this as well, right? Because after 5 normal attacks, you could technically, if you want to push it to 15, just 2 mediocre lines of max ammo, you could trigger this 3 times in one reload. But I don't think that's needed because your reload time is not that bad either. So yeah, attack unfortunately does not help with the buff, but if it did, I think it should be so good. You just have basically a 40%, 45% overload line and then giving 40 of that on top. So yeah, pretty insane. With terms of the cube, I think we can go with the reload cube for her. You can also consider Bastion if you have enough max ammo capacity. But again, this is basically half Naga, right? The incomplete Naga, just due to the fact that we don't have Tia. But I personally think that with Tia, Naga and Tia is going to be insane. But I talked about it in stream. It's rather unfortunate that Tia has the burst that forces you to use another burst one. It's this one. Right, affects all allies, re-enters burst skill stage 1. This is the exact same as Rupee, Winter Rupee, limited one. And they did fix it so the enter burst went relatively sooner in comparison to previous. It was like a almost full 1 second delay. Now it's almost instant. But this forces a 1-1-2-1-1. And I'm talking about it on stream. Those are the 3 teams at the moment. And it's very interesting to see how Naga and Tia will impact the meta, because if you take a look at it right now, this team is pretty much locked, right? This Litter plus Litter plus Bunnies with Alice and Snow White. Snow White, you can change it with something else, but those 4 are going to be core, Snow White replaceable. And then second team, this is what I ran, Mass Volume 2B, because my core 7 2B is really overpowered with the mass combination, and you're fishing for crits with Modernia. And here you can use a Sting. I use Summer Helm, but you can replace this with someone else as well, like a Max one, for example, if you don't need the heal, because max HP potency from Mass can keep the team alive. And then if you take a look at the third team, this is my new favorite team, Last Bullet, pretty much, with Scarlet supported by Summer Annis, and then Privity, Dorothy, Marciana, and Summer Annis all have Last Bullet synergy. So with the introduction of Tia and Naga, it will impact, of course, the solo raid because it's 5 teams, right? But how it's going to change unit rate, I think it's actually going to kick out the mass team. In my honest opinion, I talked about it in the stream. We went over it. I refused to accept it because my core 7 2B is not going to see much play if this does happen, which means that we keep the volume for CD reduction, and until we get another burst 1 that has CD reduction and really good offensive supports, it's going to be volume into Naga. And let's just pretend this huge booba girl is Tia, and then you have Modernia plus 1 more, right? For example, Guillotine, because you're gonna do core damage, and all these machine gun users gets affected by core damage. And later on, when we have a new pilgrim, in the sense of the anniversary pilgrim, if it's a burst 3, then we can look at you know, putting her here. If it's a sniper or a machine gun user, that'll be really good. Now, last but not least, one thing we might be thinking about is, what if the anniversary unit here, right, instead of volume, it's going to be a burst 1 pilgrim that basically gives cover, HP recovery, as well as shield. That essentially makes a Naga and Tia better than the bunnies, right? If that happens, we'll be looking at a stronger team than the bunny litter, which is a tier 0 right now. So who knows what Shift Up is cooking, but my breakdown and final conclusion for Naga is, if you can secure Naga and Tia and still have, for example, tickets to exchange for the pilgrim, then do it. Otherwise, if you cannot secure both units, don't go for it. You can put them on the wish list if you have enough blue tickets. But I know because of the NIKKE poll system, a lot of people will try to just save up the golden tickets to exchange for example, the anniversary pilgrims, and then just throw any single polls you have on the banners, because you can still luck stack them and it's not going to affect your pity at all, right? So you can luck stack and try your best and do it that way. Just throw some pulls in Naga, and if you get Tia, perfect. If not, then put her on the wish list and then go for the pilgrim. So that is another way to do it. But remember guys, this is a dual banner, and it's the first dual banner that we have that lasts for only 2 weeks, because usually dual banners for us last for 3, right, if not 4. So this is a 2-week dual banner that's going to end, and will end around the third last week of anniversary, which means that we still should have one more event. Unless it's going to be an early anniversary, we should have one more event before the anniversary. And I don't know, or I don't think at least it will have Halloween limited, but it should be a bait to drain us, because Marciana's Max Limit Break home screen was a bait into the 2 Blue Archive Girls collab bait, and then what if it's a Halloween limited into the Pilgrim anniversary bait. I think it's just going to be crazy. But also NIKKE will run into the problem of right now we pretty much only use 3 teams, and there's not a lot of space left for Union Raid and Solo Raid 5 teams. We still got some room to expand, but the campaign is locked to Litter plus Bunnies, for example. But I'm very excited to see what other game modes Shift Up will be offering, or additional content, because I think we need a bit more to use the variety of girls we have. Something maybe we could just slot multiple like 20-30 units in, and then some form of a more casual guild content, something like that. Who knows? We'll see what Shift Up is cooking. Anyhow, it's TimaeuSS here. Let me know your thoughts. And in terms of the buffs, I think Naga does do comparable damage in terms of buffing in comparison to the bunnies, right? Even without Tia, she's doing about 75% in comparison. So with Tia, I think we're gonna see more damage in comparison to the bunnies. Anyhow, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye now.